We heard that.
All right. I want to move on to asking about the Northern Australian Infrastructure Facility. So the $5 billion loan facility.
Well, Senator, that's not
no,
IAs, but...
Well, was Infrastructure Australia asked for input on the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility?
No, so Infrastructure Australia completed an audit of Northern Australia, which was published on the 8th of May this year as an input to the white paper. And the facility is a separate arrangement, which I believe is being led by Treasury.
Correct. Okay, so you had nothing to do with the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility. So you haven't been briefed on it or briefed
not as
the
yet.
Treasurer on it?
Senator, I'll just add, Treasury is developing the evaluation criteria for
In other words, you're ahead of your
Australia
time.
Infrastructure Fund, and
yes.
we're in discussions with Treasury.
So they're developing those criteria. We're talking to them about the role for IA in project assessment for any projects financed under that fund, and we expect that good engagement to continue.
Okay. So when did you first become aware of the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility?
So it was announced in the budget. So we've been in contact with Treasury post-budget.
So were you aware of it before it was announced in the budget?
No, I wasn't.
When exactly then did you become aware of the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility?
When it was announced in the budget.
So
12th of May.
12th of May.
During the budget lock-up, presumably, or were any of you in the lock-up, or was it as the Treasurer? So you heard it as
budget night.
Budget night was when you okay. So have you met with Treasury since the budget then to talk about the eligibility criteria?
Yes, I've been in contact with the Treasury and the area of the Treasury that's responsible for developing the evaluation criteria.
Okay. All right, and I've just got a few questions on the Northern Australia audit.
Where is it?
I know you've covered that, but
1.2 mil.
okay. Will it assess the water, climate, biodiversity, and farmland impacts of mines and infrastructure?
Senator, the audit is complete and is now out there for public comment and for governments and others to respond to. The specific project proposals, whether those be ones that are developed through the pipeline or other submissions that come from governments directly to IA, we will look at in the normal course of events and look at the overall impacts of the proposals against their benefits.
Okay. How did you settle on the Galilee Basin as a key growth region for the audit?
It was evident from the economic analysis that there was a lot of activity in that region, and the numbers spoke for themselves.
Okay, just on terms of the published economic analysis based on the level of coal exports that are expected.
On the overall resources across economic activity across all sectors of the economy.
We should get rid of coal.
Okay. Who set the assumptions underlying your scenario 1, 150 billion in energy exports of coal and LNG?
That was taken from the Vision 2030 document. We took it as a starting point for our analysis.
So, okay, so the Vision 2030 document. Do you know what coal price it assumes?
Say again, sorry?
Do you know what coal price that scenario assumes?
I would have to take that on notice and check back with the consultants and the details of the analysis.
Okay, and what coal export volumes?
Likewise.
And the LNG price and how they stack up against current prices?
The prices have clearly, for gas and the like, have dropped somewhat since that time, and circumstances have changed.
Yes. So that scenario 1, the assumptions underlying that you acknowledge may be not accurate now.
Like any form of scenario analysis and planning, times will change, yes.
And in your audit and in terms of picking up the Galilee Basin as a key growth region, did you in any way consider the climate change impacts of exporting all of that coal and gas? and the assumptions about the world's climate action underlying that.
The analysis was looking primarily at economic issues, and that was the focus of our largely, and the infrastructure consequences of that. That was the scope of the audit that we were asked to undertake, and which we completed.
Okay, so you ignored the climate change, potential climate change impacts if that level of development occurred.
As I say, it wasn't part of our scope that we had to that we were looking at. We were looking at being asked to assess the infrastructure implications of these different scenarios.
Okay, thank you. One last quick lot of questions about moving from Queensland to Victoria and the Western Distributor project. Has Infrastructure Australia received a project proposal from the Victorian Government for the Western Distributor project?
Not at this stage.
Senator, I think we went through that process.
Well, I
before.
asked I asked the department the same question this morning. So I just
Yeah,
wanted
that's right. And so it hasn't finished being
No,
evaluated by...
it was a pretty quick question and answer.
Yeah, it hasn't been finished being evaluated yet by the Victorian Government, so that would need to be complete before it can be referred to IA for assessment.
Okay. And I think you said this morning that Transurban hasn't made any representations, or has Transurban made any representations or provided briefings?
So we
Australia?
received an information pack which is publicly available from Transurban.
So nothing more than what is publicly available. Do you think, would it be usual for Infrastructure Australia to hear from a private proponent like Transurban if they had a proposal like this?
I believe in the past we have received direct approaches from the private sector. Paul can probably speak more authoritatively on that.
So the infrastructure priority list divides submissions from governments as well as the private sector, and we have received a number of private sector submissions in the past.
Can you perhaps take on notice what private submissions you have received in the past?
Yep, and provide you a list. Yep.
Yep. But you haven't heard from Transurban so far?
Other than receiving the information pack.
Pack that's public. Okay,